Yesterday, I shared my opinion of minority governments. Today, I'll demonstrate how no one is properly served by them. Of the 14 minority governments we've had in Canada, only 3 things have been repeatedly proven true. 1, they're short-lived, so we'll be going to the polls again in 9 to 20 months. You can bank on it. 2, they're secretive. Just to stay afloat, there'll be a lot of backroom haggling that will never be reported. Compromises will take place, gutting the very integrity of the party supposedly in charge while they try to either get support for a bill or get agreement from other parties to abstain from defeating the government, just so it can pass legislation. And 3, they're expensive. Stephen Harper blew the $100 billion that Chrétien and Martin paid off over 12 years on Canada's debt in his first 3 years just to stay in power. And he never balanced the budget, while also being unable to respond to Canada's growing economic stagnation, because he had 3 back-to-back minority governments. And Justin Trudeau had to commit double what he would have to pandemic spending, appeasing conservatives on bills that they attacked him for, being propped up by Bloc Québécois on other bills, while listening to the NDP's ridiculous claims they were fighting for Canadians by abstaining on critical votes or not defeating the government. And to make matters worse, Trudeau had to fund the opposition's repeatedly proven baseless fishing expeditions where they wasted millions and years trying to spin nothing burger procedural irregularities on the WE and SNC Lavalin files into criminal corruption conspiracies, something we know was never proven by the fact there were no fines, no criminal charges, and no censure occurring on either file. And before you try and counter with the claim Trudeau had control of that, no government had a tighter grip on the civil service and courts than occurred during the Harper years. But that didn't stop Harper's government facing 5 RCMP investigations, 3 election fraud investigations, admission of guilt statements signed by both the party and individual MPs of malfeasance, charges being filed, dozens of fines and penalties levied, and even a sitting Conservative MP going to jail for election fraud. If Trudeau's government had committed any crimes, then there would have been convictions. That's how it works here. Look, every minority coalition government has had to deliver on spending promises to appease at least 2 parties. And none of the minority governments in history ever paid anything on the debt, even if they occurred during boom economies. More critically, every minority government had to spend more than any single party had campaigned on in the elections leading up to them just to survive. So what do minority governments give Canadians? Consistently, we get flat economies, muddled policies, compromised visions, and more often than not, frustrated Canadians unsure even who to blame. The vast majority of voters in this country want a strong representative government. They want someone to blame, not someone that has to ask for validation every 18 months. And while much of the world risks violence to ensure their voices are heard, most Canadians would happily risk giving even the worst leadership a majority than face the polls every 2 years. And that's CanFax approved. On this day in 1809, the Berners Street hoax was perpetrated by Theodore Hook in the city of Westminster, London. The bet behind the hoax was that he could make any address in town the most talked about within a week. And to accomplish this, he sent out thousands of letters requesting deliveries, visitors, and assistance in the name of the person living at 54 Berners Street, Mrs. Tottenham. From 5 a.m. on November 27th onward, visitors and service people poured into the address, causing chaos even the police couldn't contain, with everyone from the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Governor of the Bank of England, and the Lord Mayor of London paying a visit, down to even, quote, 6 stout men bearing an organ, end quote. Okay, that's... Sorry. The 1 guinea bet was equal to 87 pounds sterling, or around $150 Canadian today. It's also Bavarian Cream Pie Day, Small Business Saturday, Craft Jerky Day, and Pins and Needles Day. And that's today's Duza Bear Digest. See you tomorrow.